Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shaun Stevenson, author of the Throne series, and today we are wrapping up the week. It was a really great week of books and videos and reading and some writing, so I had a great week this past week. First of all, I had a few different videos come out last week, and one of them was my North Carolina book shopping and book haul video, which I found some awesome books on that trip. It was so much fun. We went to a few different bookstores. I got to see some that I've never seen before. I saw the bougiest Goodwill I've ever seen in my life. It had literally, there was like this big cafeteria when you walked in, and it had like a party room. And then it was like all very bougie, how they had all the tables and stuff set up. And then the book section, sadly the book section there was a little bit lackluster. They had all of the middle grade and YA stuff was on that very bottom shelf of the books. And it was all mixed in with paperback, like picture books. So it was so hard to search through. And I sort of wish I had had a lot more time just to be able to go through every single book, because that was the kind of place it was. You kind of needed to go through like everything in order to find something you're looking for. But then we went to another store that was so awesome, and I found a ton of stuff. So definitely check out that video to see all the different books I found on that trip. I also put out a few review videos this week. I reviewed a book called Champion's Quest Book 2, The Quest Master's Trap, which is a lit RPG Dungeons and Dragons sort of book by Frank L. Cole, and that was a lot of fun to read. I really enjoyed it. It kind of got me back in a fantasy mood a tiny bit. But is that my mood for this week? We'll have to see. But it was a lot of fun to read, and I really enjoyed reading a fantasy book again, like I said, and I love fantasy. I think it's my first love in books. So I might read another fantasy book coming up here soon. We'll have to see which one I pick. I also reviewed Matt McMahon's first book in his series, Monsterious: Escape from Grimstone Manor, and that book was a lot of fun. In fact, the more I've thought about it, the more I think that is on my contenders so far for the top 10 books of 2024, and we're only a month and a half in, so we'll see where it ends up on my list at the end of the day, if it makes it to my top 10 or not. I did order the next 3 books in the series, 2, 3, and 4. So those are coming sometime soon. And then book 5 comes out in August. So I'm excited to keep reading those. I did find out it's an anthology series, and in my review I kind of talked about that a little bit. So definitely check out that review for more. And then I also reviewed, a book I was so excited to review and read, the newest Alex Rider book by Anthony Horowitz. Alex Rider is a spy thriller series, and there's 14 of those books now. Amazon somehow thinks there's only 13. I don't know why. But there are 14 of those books, and they are always a blast. And so I put a review up of that book on the channel as well. And then I also read, this one's also on my top contenders for top 10 books so far. I read Nightmare in 3D by Gloria Hattrick under the R.L. Stine's Ghosts of Fear Street banner. And that book, I reviewed it. It was so good. I thought it was so interesting, had so many interesting things to say. The suspense was all there. Had a great time with it, I cannot lie. So those are my reviews up on the channel. And then of course I also wrapped up January 2024 because we came to the end of January 2024. So I put up my list of all the books I read in January 2024. So as for last week's reads, I did read only 3 books last week. It was a little bit of a slower week, but I'll explain why in a second. The first book I read was Nightmare in 3D by Gloria Hattrick under the R.L. Stine Ghosts of Fear Street series. This is book number 4. And I've talked about this book quite a lot on the channel. By now, you know, I liked this book quite a bit. It was a lot of fun to read. I read it so fast, just quick and done. It was an awesome read. I definitely recommend this one. And then the next book I read was why I went a little slower, because I really wanted to savor this book, and it was Alex Rider, Nightshade Revenge, the newest book in the Alex Rider series by Anthony Horowitz. And this book, I had so much fun with this book. I really enjoyed it. I read it kind of slowly in like spurts of maybe 20 to 40 pages because I just really wanted to just savor it, because I know these books come not that often. I believe the last book came out about 2 or 3 years ago. So it's been a minute, and I wanted to savor this one because these are always a lot of fun. There's always great action and gadgets and set pieces, and this one did not disappoint. I do think it wasn't as good as some other Alex Rider books have been, but it was still a lot of fun to read. I definitely think it's worth reading, especially if you read the last book, Nightshade. You will want to read this because it really picks up the plot lines from that book and continues them, which was kind of interesting and hasn't really been done since the days of when Scorpia, this like evil organization that's kind of the anti-MI6, was around in the Alex Rider books. So they kind of did a couple of those where Scorpia comes back a couple times, and it was similar to those, but this one was more directly tied into Nightshade, which was a little interesting. And I do think Anthony Horowitz was writing this with that TV show in mind, because they have a TV show of Alex Rider out now. There's 2 seasons so far. They're working on season 3, and it definitely read kind of like he was thinking about, okay, how would this play out in a television series? Which didn't hurt it, I don't think. It actually added to it because the things he added in was more Tom Harris, Alex's best friend, more Jack Starbright, which is Alex's guardian at this point. So you had pieces that were added into this that are big pieces of the show. So I don't think it hurt it at all in this book by having those pieces here. So this was a great read. If you've never read any Alex Rider books, I definitely recommend starting with Stormbreaker, the very first book. And then my favorite after that is Scorpia. I loved that book. I think that's book number 5. That was such a good book. So that was Alex Rider, Nightshade Revenge. And then the third book I read this week, I just finished today. And it was R.L. Stine's Goosebumps, number 22, Ghost Beach. So I will be having a review of this book coming up. I just finished it because I know it's one that a lot of people really love. People talk about this one quite a bit as one of their favorite Goosebumps books. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll grab that one and read it. I don't know what I think about it. I gotta think about it some more first before I decide my final thoughts. This one's not my favorite so far. I called my brother right after and I was saying to him, okay, have you read Ghost Beach? What did you think of it? And we kind of had a conversation about the ending especially. I think the thing I didn't love was that I guessed almost everything. I actually, all the way down to the very end, I guessed all of it. So I think I kind of didn't love that journey, that it was like easy to guess. But I'll have a review coming this week of this book because I have some thoughts about it. It was still good. I didn't think it was bad. It definitely is just not my favorite. I think my favorite Goosebumps right now is The Headless Ghost. I think that book is just so far my favorite one. I love the storyline. I love the atmosphere. I love the setting. This one was interesting having it set at a beach. And with the ghost atmosphere, it kind of reminded me of like the Oregon coast, even though this takes place on the East Coast. But it reminded me of the Oregon coast when I've gone there and visited. So it was still a good book. I definitely recommend it if you're a Goosebumps fan for sure. As far as my book stats go, I have now read 3,185 pages in 2024. I've also read 16 out of my 65 books that I'm going for this year. I set my goal for 65 books. I think I'm definitely going to pass that, but I wanted to set it not too crazy for my goal because I want it to be something that's achievable. So I'm at 16 out of 65, which according to Goodreads means I am 10 books ahead of schedule. So that's pretty exciting. I'm glad about where I'm at as far as reading goes. And I'm glad about the page numbers too. Last year I did not read as many pages, even though I read 100 books. I read a lot of board books and picture books last year. And I do count those. So I wanted to read some more pages this year for sure, to read some other books that I haven't gotten to, so that are a little bit longer. And so I am looking forward to reading those. But I've also read now 13 different authors this year so far. And right now, your boy R.L. Stine is the one winning. So I've read 3 books by R.L. Stine. I am not counting Nightmare in 3D, the Ghosts of Fear Street book by R.L. Stine, because it really was written by Gloria Hattrick. So I'm counting her as the author, not R.L. Stine. And if anyone thinks I'm cheating, just let me know in the comments, because that's fair. But I've read 3 books by R.L. Stine so far, so he is so far my most read author of 2024. And I have a feeling it might stay that way, unless I find some other series that I just plow through, because that could happen too. So those are my book stats so far for 2024. As for this week's reading mood, as you know, if you've been watching this channel for a little bit, I am a mood reader. I definitely mood read all the time. I kind of look at my shelves and say, what do I want to read? That looks good. Let's go for it. So right now, last week my mood was spy thriller because I had that new Alex Rider book. But right now my mood is definitely back to a little bit of spooky. I'm really interested in like small town spooky right now. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I have a couple books to fit that bill, and one of them is my current read. So right now I am reading the Doomsday Archives Book 1, The Wandering Hour, by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Eliopoulos. Oh, I was not prepared for this book, and I'm super excited about it so far. So it is not super long, and what's very interesting about it is it has a lot of pictures, and I was not expecting that exactly. So this has a lot of pictures, and so far it is eerie, like real eerie. So I am super excited to finish reading this book. It's kind of set in a small town so far with some kids, and so I really don't know anything that's going to happen yet, and I'm excited to read it. This author duo, they wrote another series called Adventurers Guild, which was a fantasy series. It was a 3-book series for Disney Hyperion publishers, and it was a great series. I really enjoyed all the plot twists and turns there and the fantasy elements, so I was really excited when I saw they were teaming up again finally for a new book. So this one so far is on my spooky small town reads. And of course, for spooky small town reads, you can't pass up some Shady Side and some Fear Street. I am going to read Halloween Party this week because my brother has been hounding me. He wants me to read it so bad. So I need to read this one. I want to find out what happens. It looks great from what my brother was saying about it. Just a non-spoiler review he gave me. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. So this is up my alley in the spooky small town reads this week. And then the other spooky small town read I want to get to this week is Erie, Indiana, book number 1. This is one of the books I got in the North Carolina book shopping book haul. And so I want to read this because I want to go back to that Erie, Indiana and see, how are the books compared to the show? So if you've never seen any Erie, Indiana episodes, it's set in a small town where eerie stuff happens. So this might be up my alley this week too. So as far as this week's videos, I have a few different reviews. I have some reviews I didn't get to last week because there have been so many books to review, and I have this pile that keeps stacking of books that I've finished and I need to review. I really want to get to the Boy Next Door Fear Street book because, like I've said previously, I have some stuff to say about this book. I don't think I'm going to do a Let's Discuss video. I'm probably just going to do a non-spoiler review video of this one, but this one is going to be coming up very soon, probably this week on the channel. As well as I need to review this Give Yourself Goosebumps Scream of the Evil Genie book. It's been so long and I need to review it, so hopefully this week I will have that up on the channel as well. The other video I want to get to this week is a Nintendo book collection video. I finally got all my books together for that, so I'm probably going to be filming that this week so I can get it up on the channel because I want to share with you all the Nintendo books that I have. Some of them are pretty awesome, harder to find books now, so I'm excited to share those with you for sure. And of course, as soon as I finish reviewing Ghost Beach and the Doomsday Archive, I'm going to be posting reviews of those as well. The other video I really want to get to, hopefully this week, if not this week, the next, is an Alex Rider book ranking video. Now that I've read all 14 books in the series, I really want to do a book ranking of all those books in the Alex Rider series because there's a lot of good ones, and I just kind of, after rereading it, after reading this last one, I just want to revisit that world and kind of think, okay, where's my favorites? Like, what's my ranking of all these Alex Rider books? So I'm going to be probably doing a ranking video of the Alex Rider books coming up very soon. So that is probably coming up on the channel this week as well. So that is all my updates for this week. It was a good book reading week, a little slower than my other ones. I only read 3 books, but I still enjoyed them all, and reading Alex Rider was a lot of fun. Anthony Horowitz never disappoints. I don't think I've read a single Anthony Horowitz book I did not like. So definitely, if you're looking for those kinds of books, he does like spy thrillers. He also has a little bit of fantasy horror, and he does some like thrillers that are not spy thrillers. So he has a lot of great books that are a lot of fun. He also has some horror collections of short stories that are a lot of fun to read. I always like reading those. He has just a really, really disturbing sense of humor in those that really come through well. So it's a lot of fun to read. So that's what I got going on the channel this week. Thanks for joining me on another weekly update on the Shaun Stevenson Books channel. And until next time, keep reading, everybody. Bye.